So the World Food Prize did meet here earlier. Most of you already know that we have the World Food Prize headquarters undergoing construction. They're repurposing the old library downtown into the World Food Prize headquarters. And so it looks like that's going to be completed very soon, hopefully by the spring. Lots of stuff going on this spring, and so it's very exciting. We had the World Food Prize Festival a couple of weeks ago, then the conference. And so it's very relevant, food, and from a local perspective, and then also an international perspective. I think what's really exciting is the fact that Norman Borlaug was the person who inspired that organization. And this is something that I also picked up. Sorry, I don't mean to make you seasick there. It's from a magazine called Rice Today. It's a journal, and let's see. It's from the October-December 2009 journal. It's the International Rice Research Institute, and they did a tribute to Norman Borlaug, who I think was a very worthy subject, and you'll see why as I soon read. Norman Borlaug received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1970, about 25 years after he began working to increase food production in Mexico. As Newsweek recently reported, and that's actually from the 2007 July issue of Newsweek, only 5 people have been awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and the Congressional Gold Medal. It's a very, very small, exclusive club. And it includes Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., Elie Wiesel, and Norman Borlaug. So if you're impressed, there's a reason. I'm very impressed with his work. Let's see. He had success in breeding wheat, which means keeping ahead of the ever-evolving rust organism. Failure means disaster for farmers, nations, and even in extreme cases, the whole world. So his work that he did with breeding wheat had a very, very big effect around the world. The untold story of Norm's life is, however, his career as a teacher. In the very first days of his assignment to the Rockefeller Foundation's program in Mexico, he encouraged young Mexican technicians to learn the secrets of plant breeding, crossing, and selection, the critical steps that most plant breeders kept to themselves. So he's very giving. Ever the student and ever the teacher, he had passion, persistence, and persuasion, a clear focus on worthy goals, and science directed at solving problems. Which reminds me of my other personal hero, and that's Buckminster Fuller. Great men should be celebrated, I think. Norm has stressed the need to tackle problems rather than pursue fame, disciplinary knowledge, or preconceived solutions. So that was pretty interesting information to know, particularly from a food angle. I picked up other information about animal health because since a lot of people are meat eaters, we do want our animals that eventually become meat to be healthy. And so there's a lot of international organizations focused on animal health and welfare, particularly from a food perspective. Yeah. And then I have another publication. This is from Iowa State University, Iowa Seed and Biosafety. And this is the, this is the fall 2010, so it's a recent issue. Iowa State University seed scientists are working with the University of Nairobi and other groups to increase food security and reduce poverty in sub-Saharan Africa with a new grant from the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa. Very intriguing. So the work that we do here in Iowa has very far-reaching impact. I mean, even from Norman Borlaug, but from Iowa State University and our farmers and the technology that we develop and the new ways and the new techniques that we have for increasing our yields and improving the safety of the food. It's very, very important all around the world. So it's not something to take lightly. Food production in Iowa and then other places. Um, I did see something else along that lines. I'm just going to move stuff around. This is from the Des Moines Register. Des Moines Register, and it's a guest columnist who wrote an opinion, "What food riot abroad drove home." But I'm not going to dwell on the food riot part, mostly the other part where it says, "What can we as Midwesterners do in a world that seems so overwhelmed with hunger and poverty?" He goes on to write that a single acre of our soybeans provides about 18,000 rations of soy protein that can make an enormous difference in children's ability to grow and become productive members of society. Very, very, very interesting that, people that, even the people, not just the food and the technology and the equipment and supplies, but the people that we export around the world become teachers. And so I think that's terrific. For Iowa, that people know us on that level. All right, so I'm going to go right to the food desert, and this is a black and white copy that I made of the an article from the June 2010 Ebony magazine. And the title of it's called Food Desert. And it's actually contained right here, but I copy that. But it's called Food Desert. And it goes on to say that sometimes you have to grow it to get it. It's easier to buy fried chicken, red pop, and flaming hot potato chips than it is to find an apple in certain middle to low income black neighborhoods. Which, let's face it, there's some truth to that statement. And I think it's very unfortunate that there's some truth to that statement. I wish it were otherwise. Ebony lists cities with food deserts: Memphis, Kansas City, St. Louis, Indianapolis, Baltimore, Atlanta, Richmond, Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and New Orleans. I added to the list Des Moines. Why did I add that to the list? I like editorializing and commentary, but there is a reason why I did add Des Moines to the list. And I'm unfolding a map from DART. It's a map of the city of Des Moines, and it shows the bus lines. This gray portion right here, this gray section, is the city of Des Moines. It's the city proper. This pink section that you'll see here is West Des Moines. So back to the city proper. There's quite a large section of the city that does not have access to full-service grocery stores. There's Quick Trips, there's convenience stores, there's liquor stores that happen to have food products like catfish and soul food, but not a full-service grocery store. There's also dollar stores and Walgreens with groceries in it. But let's take a look at this map. And here's a Hy-Vee on Euclid, and here's a Fairway and Park Fair Mall on Euclid. Inside that square, about right here, and this is Uptown Shopping Center by Drake, you can go down, and that includes the downtown area, and there's no full-service grocery store there. So where do people eat? They either take the bus way to West Des Moines, or they take the bus to like a Hy-Vee, which, of course, it can be done. We do have transportation for those who don't have cars, but the transportation is limited. It runs on certain hours and then cuts off, and then on the weekends the service is even more limited. And then there's also the issue of whether you're elderly, if you're a senior citizen and you have trouble getting on and off transportation and walking to and from transportation, that might be an issue. Or if you're got a lot of kids with you, maybe 3 or 4 children that you have to travel with and then carry bags to and from the bus to get home. Or if you just simply don't live near a bus stop, that might make things a little bit difficult.